In this video, I'm going to talk about SAT reading and writing passages transitions that are typically found at about problem 20 or so on the reading and writing part of the SAT. I'm going to talk about the step-by-step method that you should use in order to go through these problems and consistently get them right. I was able to get a 790 on SAT evidence-based reading and writing, and I want to help you score well too. So I'm going to talk about the method and then get into solving some problems that are found on Blue Book practice tests. So I'm going to just walk you through the method that I use in order to solve these problems efficiently, quickly, and correctly. First, I'd always read the passage, and then instead of looking at the answers immediately, I'd create my own answer using the context behind the sentence before the blank for the transition word and the sentence that the blank was a part of. I'd decide what the relationship was between those two sentences and formulate my own answer. If you watched my SAT vocab video, then you'll hear some similarities in this next part. I would then take that answer that I had created to fill in the blank, and I would compare it to the SAT answer choices and find which one matched, which one was either a synonym or really might have been that exact same word, especially as you practice these problems over and over again on Blue Book and on Khana Academy. Don't forget to use Khana Academy if you're struggling on transition problems. Then you might be able to learn what type of transition words are consistently seen over and over again and be able to guess the actual word without even looking at the answer choices, because you will consistently see the same words over and over again. Sometimes you'll see one that you haven't before, but most of them are pretty consistently the same. I just want you to know before I go into the problems that I did them all cold. I did not check and prepare for them ahead of time. I wanted to do them fresh, just like you guys are in exam day, to show you exactly what I'm thinking and to show you my methods work consistently and in the time that you need them to in order to get the problems correct.
Okay, so first step is to go ahead and read the passages. As you're doing that, remember to try to figure out the relationship between the sentence before the blank and the sentence after the blank or in the blank. Famous for its 4-degree tilt, the leaning Garisenda Tower is a popular attraction in Bologna's city center. However, measurements taken in 2023 show that the tower was rotating in a concerning way. Blank city officials closed the area around the tower so experts could explore solutions to stabilize the historical 12th century structure. So, in this situation, what's the relationship between the sentence before and the sentence that includes the blank? Well, you can see that it says because the tower was rotating in a concerning way, they ended up closing it, right? And so we can see that the word we could potentially fill in here would be the word because as a result of that type of thing. And so let's go ahead and look at the answer choices now and see if we can figure out a synonym. Similarly, as a result, for example, in comparison, as a result is actually what I already said, and it's also a synonym to because, so that would be the answer for this problem. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, reading again, same strategy. Read the sentence before, and the sentence includes the blank and figure out the relationship between the two. Guard cells are specialized cells that are part of a plant's pores. These cells help regulate the amount of carbon dioxide a plant takes in. Blank. They help regulate a plant's water loss. So, based on this, as you already heard me, I made a mistake in the way I was saying it, is this blank is kind of an also, because it's saying two things here. It's saying they help regulate the amount of carbon dioxide, and they also help regulate the amount of a plant's water loss. There's no relationship between those two things. So the passage specializes. It's a list, and so it would be like secondly, also, additionally, something like that. There's additionally, that's probably going to be our answer, previously, and conclusion instead. Neither of those are suggested by the passage, so that's our answer. As you can see again, we created a relationship between those two sentences, and then we made a guess and found a synonym in the 4 answer choices. Moving on. Same strategy here. Marcel Duchamp intended his 1917 so-called ready-made sculpture fountain to challenge then prevailing conceptions about the nature of art. Blank. Duchamp's fountain did just that, raising the question of whether displaying any object in an art gallery could be said to transform the object, even as Duchamp's sculpture was a urinal, into a legitimate work of art. So what's the relationships between these two sentences? Well, if I were to fill it out, it kind of sounds like he had a goal, and then he did just that, but then it expands even further beyond that. And so I would think it would be some kind of word that would suggest that, like furthermore, extending that relationship. And so you can see it's not similarly because it's not comparing two things. It's not saying there's a similar circumstance that happens later on. It presents a goal and then presents what happens within that exact situation. So it can't be similarly. Indeed, actually makes sense. It would push further and expand that passage's ideas. Indeed, Duchamp's fountain did just that. So I would guess that's it. Instead is not correct because that would seem to result or to suggest that his goal was not reached. And in fact, it says the exact opposite here. It says that Duchamp's fountain did just that. So it's definitely not that one. And then this second sentence really adds nothing new. It's not saying he did anything in addition. It's just saying that he was able to reach his goal, and then it expands a little bit further on that. So that's not our answer. One more question. Okay. In 2021, a model developed by astrophysicist Catherine Zucker and her research team revealed that the same supernovas responsible for the creation and ongoing expansion of the local bubble, a 14-million-year-old cavity in the Milky Way, are likely responsible for the formation of new stars. Blank. This model detailed how the bubble's expansion trapped interstellar clouds of gas and dust that became stars until upon their eventual collapse. Okay, so this last sentence goes into more details. It goes into more specifics about this new model that has been developed. And so I would guess that the word would be something like specifically. It's hence seems to suggest a conclusion, which there's no conclusion being made. However, would suggest a contradiction. There's no contradiction made in that second sentence. Admittedly, seems to indicate some kind of consolation or even a small contradiction, and so that can't make sense. But specifically is exactly what I noted here. I think one thing that's interesting as you go through these is as you become more familiar with them, you'll recognize that oftentimes you're able to guess the exact word that is in the answer choices just because you become so familiar with doing these types of problems over and over again, whether it's on Khan Academy or Blue Book practice tests, and you're very, very quickly able to figure out exactly which answer is right and which answers don't make sense, especially using this particular strategy where you create a synonym for the word yourself and then look at the answer choices instead of looking at all the answer choices and then picking whichever one you feel fits best.
I hope you found that video helpful, and I hope it helps you to solve those SAT transition problems, because if you don't have the right techniques, then they can be tough. So if you want any more strategies and step-by-step walkthroughs of how to solve SAT reading and writing problems or help you with SAT math, then please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or ideas for future videos, whether it's for the October SAT or the future, even just related to college apps, please put those in the comments below, because this channel is for you, and I'm always looking to help you guys. It's a part of my college application process, so that's one reason I'd really like it if you would please subscribe, because you can help me monetize my channel and pay for college. But anyway, thank you for watching this video, and good luck on your next SAT.